But you can't be any place better than in the gym on the weekends hanging with your extended family, Hoops World. And, we've had a lot of fun over the 20 years of doing it. That's become part of the family.
Because it's almost like it's that great cloud sitting over there. Like, oh, see this, you hear this NIL dollars, but don't realize it's a whole lot that goes into that as well. So could you repeat the name of your company again that you mentioned?
Yeah, it's Think Big Advisory Group. It's in the Think Big Shots. Used forever, and so you're the first person to really hear about that. To be honest with you,
breaking news.
We always get something for the caption.
Treating your family and manning your family too, to put that out there. We'll be helping, and we get approached a lot by agents. We assist with ESPN and Paul Biancardi, who's family to us. I've been doing that for about 13 years.
I was going to ask you about the jerseys, because I know every time I go to a Big Shots event, you guys post all the NBA players that have been through the program. But so I want to ask you, 20 years in the business, all of you guys are hoopers, right? I want to ask your personal opinion, right? The game's changed, high school, middle school, reclassing, NIL, like it's a whole different world out there, right? What's your opinion of basketball at the grassroots level today? Is it in a better place, or we have to get some things under control? What are you really seeing?
Investment for a lot of high school to college players is the strength and speed of the game, but it really comes down back to skill level. I think if you have skill, we're seeing the top skilled players shine the most. What a freshman class in college basketball. You having one of those guys in Jordan Scott at Michigan State. The skill level is still what shines.
And I've been blessed. Well, Virginia Leader's been blessed to be a part of that growth pattern with Big Shots, and we will continue to grow. But the platform is outstanding. Anybody that's looking to advance their team, get the organization in, and as you said, now some of them, some of the stuff is transactional. Call it what it is. And to me personally, that's a turnoff. What I really like about Big Shots, I started out knowing your father. I didn't, and Coach Man, I didn't know Kevin, and all of a sudden he shows up and I'm like, oh, who's this guy? And he stood next to his dad. I'm like, I knew who that is now. And it's been a fantastic career. You guys have a fantastic program.
Well, we love you, man, and appreciate your friendship and relationship for many years. We talk about you all the time, and we feel like your program's as good as any program in the country. And we honestly feel that way. We'll put you up against anybody, and you bring the heat every time, and you usually come out on top. And,
absolutely.
You got high character program, coaches across the board. Obviously, Manny, we've talked about your team all the off season with Thomas. So.
All right, so Kevin, welcome to the podcast. We know you're busy. We were talking. You're saying you guys are mapping out the rest of the winter, spring. So let's just get right into it. Before we start with the questions, I'm asking for a friend. I have a quick question. Real talk. Has anyone ever tried to bribe you for a better Saturday schedule? You don't have to name names. If it's work, just let me know how. Asking for a friend.
If you're a Hoops fan and good people, you're welcome to come hang with me any Saturday you want. We go for about 8 straight months, so make sure you pack your bags and have a good wife at home to do your laundry, because the bag stays packed usually. So. But you can't be any place better than in the gym on the weekends hanging with your extended family, Hoops World. And, we've had a lot of fun over the 20 years of doing it. And that's become part of the family. And we talk about that, the Big Shots family, man. I mean, Thomas is part of that family, man. He part of us a lot. And we treat that family like it's our own, as we operate as a family business. And Big Shots, that's kind of our motto. And we will feel that love that we have when they walk in the door.
So right into it. Tell us a little bit about how it all started. Was it your dad who founded it? Was it together? How is that? What was the vision, and where are you guys at today?
We couldn't have wrote it any better than it's become. 20 years ago, 2006, it actually started with a sponsorship through Dick's Sporting Goods. Burstaller was the VP. He actually was a part of our organization out in Phoenix, and we had 3 teams. Top team was great. Second team was okay. And guys' team was absolutely terrible. Okay. And his son was on it. And the experience they had together was special. Obviously, a lot of fathers coach their sons in our event, and so that relationship carried over the years. Taylor, unfortunately passed away not too long after that, and Guy was obviously reminiscent about the times he's had with his boys, and reached out to Jeff, who I run Big Shots with, my dad, and said, "Hey, look, the most fun I ever had with my son was with you guys, and let's start a tournament. Dix will sponsor it." And all of a sudden, Big Shots was created in 2006, man. We had 19 teams in Myrtle Beach, and now we have over 4,300 teams annually. So that's the story. We cater to all levels of talent, and that's prime reason right there. Taylor Burkstaller and Guy Burkstaller, and those are memories that you carry forever, during the spring, summertime.
Well, I know one thing, and I have to show this, Kevin. This is Myrtle Beach champion. Let me say this.
I love it.
Myrtle Beach champion 2009. You mentioned you started, and one of the things that I loved about Big Shots when we went down to Myrtle Beach and we played, it wasn't, well, you're not going to play this team. They're going to play. You would, if you lined up, this is who you're going to play. And we built that relationship, of course, with your father. When I started off with Virginia Elite, and in getting to know you, now you're the national recruiting director, the COO for Big Shots, and seeing your growth with the company as well. I know as a father, I know your father is very proud that you and your brothers are engulfed within the Big Shots the business, and you run a first class grassroots events with an S, and just seeing it grow, So one of the questions I want to ask is, as you've seen the growth of players, what have you seen from the players' perspective, the change that has gone on within these 20 years? What have you seen that you're like, man, are they more athletic, or whatever? What's that thing that you can say you want to put your hand on and say, man, I see the growth of these kids?
I think there's a lot more teams and players playing. I think another contribution to the talent level, I think, is the amount of facilities now too, where there's access. We go playing outdoors, and now nobody really plays outdoors anymore because there's a lot of teams built around the country. But I think the athleticism, the strength is obviously improved. That's become a focal point of today's game. I think that's the biggest adjustment for a lot of high school to college players is the strength and speed of the game. But it really comes down back to skill level. I think if you got a skill, you're seeing the top skilled players shine the most. What a freshman class in college basketball. You having one of those guys in Jordan Scott at Michigan State. The skill level is still what shines. It's mixing that in with the athleticism and the size and the length and speed as well, which makes the athletes like this freshman class in college hoops so special this year.
Good. Now, I know you guys are based out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, but you've done a lot on the East Coast. Are you stretching your brand towards the West? What's that progression for Big Shots?
Yeah, Jeff has lived in Virginia Beach now for 4 years. So Virginia, we saw kind of a vision ahead of time that that state was adding venues, and that's always been a home state to us. He played at Virginia Tech, grew up in West Virginia. I played at Longwood. Bryce played at Richmond. My other brother played at William and Mary. So that state's meant a lot to our family over the years. And he lives in Virginia Beach. We'll do about 15 events there this season. Carolinas, we have about 16 to 17 events, and then we're out in Gatlinburg as well. But we used to do about 60 to 80 events annually, all the way to Vegas, Phoenix, Dallas, throughout Alabama, the Midwest. I mean, we kind of were spread throughout the country. And, when we started it, our motto was just really dominate I-95. And kind of took a McDonald's approach to that, just putting it in the areas where there was population and basketball love. And so, we're fortunate to have, the relationships east to west, with Jeff coaching. And, I grew up out Phoenix as well. So we had ties east to west, north to south. And that really allowed us to get this off the ground early. But we just kind of know what our lane is now, I think. And we're really happy with the venues we're in. But we always get the temptation to add something else. You know, I've been to some of the better venues in the country nationwide, and I love hoops everywhere. You know, from Philly, LA. I mean, it doesn't matter where it is. You know, we love promoting talent and bringing the events to those teams. So right at this point, we kind of know what we're doing. We're adding Williamsburg in 2027 4 times. We'll be adding a facility in Greenville, Greer area in South Carolina 4 more times in 27. So these new venues are popping up, and we've had many talks this week with some areas that we feel like could really benefit from a sports venue. So we're kind of on the back end with a lot of those cities or investors, kind of giving them tips, advice ahead of time, you know, as they're mapping out in the upcoming years. So we'll see what comes in the next 3 to 4 years. Florida may be an option as well. We've been down there before, and I think that connects the dots with the city we're involved with on the East Coast.
Okay. Well, you know, we talk about a lot about on the court activities, and you know, nowadays we hear a lot about the NIL and things of that particular nature. Are you getting hit with questions regarding, especially these athletes that's going to these Division I programs? Are you guys getting hit with trying to educate some of the parents, the players? Are you getting hit with those type of questions regarding the business of basketball? Once you kind of get out the grassroots, well, not necessarily get out of it, but that the whole mechanism around, you know, hey, should I go to this school? Do they have a good NIL budget? Are you guys getting hit with those kind of questions?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that part of the game's evolved over the last 3 to 4 years, you know, where it's now more of an open conversation than many years past, right? So
right.
I do think, you know, I've created a company called Think Big Advisory Group that will help advise players, not an agent of any sort. We will help advise them to the right agents, I think, that could best benefit them, especially depending on what region they could be in or what level they're trying to get to. I think, you know, it's new to everybody. I mean, I've been in some conferences recently that even the highest level programs that you think have it figured out, they still don't have it figured out. So it's always evolving. And I think staying up to date on it's key, you know, and what we're going to try and do is just educate parents, players, coaches, just kind of on what it is, you know, and at the end of the day, you know, you still have to find the right fit, you know,
Right.
That, and that's where we try and help the most is in the recruiting landscape, help provide the platform, but also help guide players along to what level they would best benefit at. So I think if you do that long term, the financial side will take care of itself.
So if I'm a parent,
go ahead, Jay.
No, so I said, if I'm a parent, and you mentioned about the company that you guys started, and I think that's important for parents to know about, because again, as you said, a lot of people think they know, but they really don't know, because it's almost like it's that great cloud sitting over there, like, oh, we see this, you hear this NIL dollars, but don't realize it's a whole lot that goes into that as well. So could you repeat the name of your company again that you mentioned?
Yeah, it's Think Big Advisory Group. Kind of Think Big Shots. Used forever, and so you're the first person to really hear about that. To be honest with you, we have
breaking news.
Kevin,
we always get something for the caption.
Seeing your family and manning your family too, to put that out there. That, we'll be helping, and we get approached a lot by agents. You know, we ratings assist with ESPN and Paul Biancardi, who's family to us. I've been doing that for about 13 years, you know, so you know, we try and help players of all levels and parents. You know, you get really close with these parents. You know, I mean, I've known CJ Rosser and his mom since he was probably 10 or 11 years old. Now he's number 2 in the nation. You get to know Karl Anthony Towns at a young age, real close with T, and obviously or you know, guys like that. You get really close with the parents, where there's a bond there, a trust, and really we just want to help players get in the best positions to be successful on and off the court.
Cool.
I was going to ask you about the jerseys, because I know every time I go to a Big Shots event, you guys post all the NBA players that have been through the program. But so I want to ask you, 20 years in the business, all of you guys are hoopers, right? I want to ask your personal opinion, right? The game's changed, high school, middle school, reclassing, NIL, like it's a whole different world out there, right? What's your opinion of basketball at the grassroots level today? Is it in a better place? Do we have to get some things under control? What are you really seeing?
I think at the end of the day, as you advance in your career, it still comes down to character and making plays in basketball. We can get caught up in all the glamour and social media side, which we obviously promote players that way as well. But at the end of the day, as you advance, it comes down to making shots, making plays, having high character, and doing what you're supposed to on and off the court. And I think that's something that can get lost sight of a little bit, in today's game more so than in years past. I think if the ones that are dialed in that, they are very easy to find as far as it's recognized early.
Right.
And that's become a skilled trait. That's credit to maybe the parents, the coaches that surround that athlete, because the recognition that you're getting now is probably a lot more sooner than it was in years past. Credit to maybe media outlets. And I think just being able to handle that side, but separate it where you in those 94 feet, you better show up, lace them up every game. You never know who's watching.
Right.
And I think that's something that is important to maintain, and that'd be my advice to you coming up, because there's a lot more opportunity now than maybe we had when we played. Okay. And I think that's an advantage, but you don't want to take advantage of it, but you want to be ready, when the lights are on.
Yeah. Good deal.
As I said that, obviously a lot of events, independent circuits, a lot of moms and pops here in the DMV. Every time I go on Instagram, there's a new event popping up. What's something about Big Shots that you could tell us it's appealing to tournament to program directors and coaches that they should look at Big Shots, so sort of like, all right, we do this better than everyone else.
We cater to all levels of talent, and I think that's important to know. I think we build those relationships. You're dealing with us, you're dealing with Schneiders, you're dealing with family. It's not a change of people. When you show up to an event, you're seeing a Schneider there, and we take a lot of pride in that. Where relationship we value, and that's something as a lot of relationships may have gone a little bit more transactional in the recent years. We really still value that relationship and recruiting. We really know what we can do to help players with the recruiting side. And, I think we really trust our eye in evaluating talent, and we'll put our stamp on players that maybe nobody knows about, and put them to a level where, he probably didn't even think he could play at. And that happens all the time. Even with some of the players I just mentioned, CJ Russell went from unknown to number 2 in the nation. Okay. Like, it just happened, but there's trust in the player, the parent, the coach, the people around them. And we get to see these players so often too, that you get a good feel and a good eval on the players and the surroundings. So I think with us, we're in the best venues. We provide maybe the safest environment you could possibly play in. It's culture. I think that's extremely important. So, we do bag checks, we do scan wands when you walk in the door. And we're evaluating your talent, and we get to know you even at an early age. Some people say, well, why am I going to go play at 10 or 11? We get to know you at that age. We laugh like Anthony Brown. We saw Anthony Brown at 10, 11 years old, and we're like, he's going to be a high-level guard. Well, man, here he is. He's the hottest player this year, heading to Vanderbilt. And we talk about that often, because he was with a team that we saw him at an early age, and we still got his photo. I got his photo on phone.
So from the parents' perspectives, because you talked about, at the end of the day, it comes down to, can you play the game the right way, right? Character, and can you play? But from a parent's perspective, navigating all the craziness that's out there today, what's a misconception or something that you can tell a parent about exposure? Like, what should they be looking at, or what should they care about when it comes to getting their kids some exposure?
I think at the end of the day, it comes down to how you can really help. Do the people that you're playing in front of, can they help your son? Like, truly help your son? I mean, I think there's people that rely on other people, then they promote like they can help you. I think that's important, that if I make a phone call to, John Shire, some coach around the country, is that evaluation respected? And I think that's an important trait to have when it comes to playing in certain events, where it can promote you, and I think as far as playing in some events too, I think it's important to play on the right courts and the right venues. You see sometimes you play in events and you're thinking you're on the prime courts and you're out at the junior high. That doesn't no good.
No.
And truthfully, and I think that kind of can, as a lot of the companies have evolved, and jumped into the game of adding events. I think that's something to really don't lose sight of that, because that is extremely important in the process. And it's a process too. That's something parents got to be patient. I think the way recruiting's gone now, teams are older. Okay. I mean, it's just the game's as old as it's ever been. And I think it's important to just stay to the process and, try and get as old as you can at certain points, but understand recruiting comes at different times. And the main thing is get better every day.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, and, we started out, and I started by showing our 2009 Myrtle Beach championship. I got to plug that again. But over the years, we've seen where the level of competition at big shot events has been at its highest. And I've talked to other team directors, and they're asking me my schedule. And I'm like, hey, I don't care what I do. I have to play a big shot. I have to go and play. Because not only do I feel that it's a good environment, but I think me as a team director or organization director, I almost owe it back to the people who helped me along the way. As you said, 2009, we were not known. I didn't have not one Division I guy on my program, and it grew real fast. And that was literally because of big shots. I remember your dad and I, we had a conversation when he came up to Northern Virginia, and he held an event at Hoops Magic with Curtis Simon.
Oh yeah,
Huge event, huge event. And I saw it at that particular point in time, and I've been blessed. Well, Virginia Leader's been blessed to be a part of that growth pattern with big shots, and we will continue to grow. But the platform is outstanding. Anybody that's looking to advance their team, get the organization in, and as you said, now some of them, it's some of the stuff is transactional. Call it what it is, and to me personally, that's a turnoff. What I really like about Big Shots, I started out knowing your father. I didn't, and Coach Man, I didn't know Kevin, and all of a sudden he shows up, and I'm like, oh, who's this guy? And he stood next to his dad. I'm like, I know who that is now. And it's been a fantastic career. You guys have a fantastic platform. I know the reason why I asked you about the NIL, Kevin, I know your dad, and I know he's what we call in terms of IT, he's modular. So I knew there was something else down that line. We have dealt with a lot. We deal with a lot of parents who have lofty expectations for their children. And I always say, like you said, at the point in time, you got to be able to play this game. It still comes to that fundamental capability. Can you play this game? Now, I know that you guys had a youth, I'm gonna call it camp this year. Can you elaborate on that platform that you have for the youth kids?
Yeah. So we used to do the top 100, top 150 camps around the country, various states that we were in, and we came up with the idea of All-Star Weekend. It was something that we name All-Stars after every event. It's and evaluating the players of all levels. We decided, hey, let's do a camp where we honor those players at the end of the year, bring all the All-Stars throughout the whole season. 35 events to one location. We had 600 All-Stars in year one at Rock Hill. And we've had Steph Curry's trainer, Brandon Payne, Paul Biancardi, Bob McKinnon, Mike Jenkins, Hall of Famer at Winthrop. We've had some great, instructors at the camp.
Right.
This year, I'll tell you who we're going to have. We're going to have at All-Star Weekend in August in Rock Hill, we're going to have Kevin Eastman, legendary coach, NBA world champion with the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
As loved and mentored by many coaches around the country for what he does. One of the best speakers maybe out there. I mean, Nick Saban and many of the Urban Meyer top coaches around the country bring him in to speak to their teams over the years. Gannon Baker, who actually played for Kevin, and now with NBA MBPA top 100.
Yeah.
Again, one of the top skills trainers in the country. Along with Paul being part, will be their ESPN National Recruiting Director. So that'll be the last event we do of the year. It's just a long way to close it out. Plenty of giveaways. Players get uniforms. We give every player Capelli uniform, who's our official apparel company. And it's just a good way to go out with a bang right before school starts and play against other players of, the all-star caliber players that have played in our events. So it's an event that's kind of grown where we weren't expecting to have 600 players in it, but here we are. It's become as big as any camp in the country.
Well, I knew as soon as I heard from you and you mentioned it, I'm like, they just hit another home run again. Is that think big motto. And I remember talking to your dad some years ago, and we were talking about, the mindset around think big and what that really meant to Big Shots. And it's not just a word, it's really, it's really what drives Big Shots. And now one thing you just mentioned is about your sponsor Capella, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Can you want to elaborate a little bit more? And I like, if you got a sponsor, shout them out. Let's get them on board. And can you tell us a little bit about that collaboration?
Capelli came through a relationship from Steve Tolliners, who was at Westtown, and knew him when he had Lively and Reddish and many of the great players that have come out of that program. But he had reached out to my son was playing soccer, and all of a sudden, bam, here we are. Capelli is nationally known, worldwide known for their soccer brand, but they wanted to really get into the basketball market, and they've done an outstanding job. Great people, George Alter, Jared Harrison, staff are. They're about the relationship. So they're based out of the Northeast area, but we've really helped them get into the basketball market, and tremendous uniforms. They got ball deals, 5, 6 free if you need balls. They're offering free gear to coaches if you buy your jerseys through them. So they're doing some really cool packages that I think teams are going to really like. The gear's elite. We've been with a lot of different companies throughout the years, and we wear this as much as anything. It's a high-level brand, high-level people, and they really want to work with the grassroots market, which is very intriguing because it's hard to find that type of relationship. So really good turnaround rate. They've improved that over the years. I think that's important in our industry. We are more of a last-minute sport when it comes to gear. So I think that's something that they've learned. We're now in year 3 of being with them, and they're a great partner. But we've been to some great partners. Sponsors in Wilson Basketball, Baller TV. Recently, we talked about Athlete AI. It's a program that you'll see at our events. You see us filming on the baseline. We take a lot of pride in our media, and it's something that we visit on a ton, as do you. I'm on the podcast with you, and this is tremendous, you and Manny doing this, but we really take a lot of pride in our media to, activate and get to know the players, promote those guys. And so Athlete AI will be a program we will use where you can tag the players, tag the event, tag the team, and really track your highlights throughout the year. It's like an Instagram, YouTube archive. And the program's phenomenal. So we'll be working with Alec Kinsky and the team throughout the year, and I think all teams will really enjoy that app once they dive into it, as well as the parents.
Yeah, I was excited today when I had a meeting with them, and I called Manny, and I said, "Hey, Manny, we got to jump on this right away." So we actually have a player, and it's fantastic. Anybody who's listened to this, partner with Big Shots and Athletes AI is a tremendous capability that we use, because people, I see videos sometimes, I'm like, man, what the hell is that? But now it's packaged in the right way, and think big, thinking the next step, the next phase of this is spot on. So this is an exciting time for both, I think, and I'm happy to say that Virginia Leaders is a part of that as well. So, and Manny know that anything I can find, I'm gonna jump into it. So,
podcast is right. Case in point.
Yes.
I got one more question, Kevin. More on the personal side, right? You've been doing this for a long time. You deal with a lot of people. What's the most memorable moment you can recall out of doing this, dealing with so many players, with dreams and aspirations, with parents? What's that one moment that you'd be like, I'm glad I get to do this?
Man, there's so many. Every year is like a new moment, right? I cherish obviously I pray with my dad. That's something that's important to me. And my brother now, Bryce. It's something we've been doing for a long time. Many stories over the years. Sometimes we go back a little bit, but it brings out the best in each other too at the same time. Grayson Allen was a really cool story. I just remember Clemson. He was playing with Larry Douglas, son you see on ESPN a lot, First Take. And Grayson, at the time had no offers, 16 years old, going into his junior year. And he just had 30 points. And after the game, had his jersey ripped off. I'm like, hey, man, who's recruiting you? And he goes, nobody. I'm from Jacksonville. I don't even have North Florida or JU or any offers. I said, well, let me ask you, what's your dream school? What do you think he told me? He said, Duke. So
right.
I said, let's make it happen. And by the end of that was in May. And by July, the USA was in the Olympics. And so Nate James was the only coach out. And he showed up at VCU. And Thomas, I think you were at that event as well.
Yeah.
And Nate James came and watched him, and they ended up offering. He actually blew his shoe out and was going to head home. As Nate showed up, I said, listen, go to Foot Locker. He wore a size 16. I'm like, go to size 16, and you need to play this game. We worked all year for this moment, and it's here.
Right.
Had 20-some points. They offered a week later. Now he's, doing his thing in the NBA. But Grayson's a special story. But we've had stories with all of them. Carl Anthony Towns, 8th grade. His dad, Carl Sr., was unbelievable. Took his first photo. He took so much pride in that. Went out to his car, got his Dominican Republic shirt in honor of his mom. And made sure he had that shirt on as he took that photo. 8th grade in Myrtle Beach. So there's stories with everybody. But it's fun to see those guys. And, I've really cherished also, we've had over $3 billion in scholarships over the 20 years, $3 billion. Wow. And I think that means as much as any of the stories that we have,
right.
Seeing players now that are coaching, maybe even have their own kids playing. I mean, it's just, it's fun to see that, and people find success in various ways, but, we cherish those memories and those moments that we've had together at Big Shots over the years, for sure.
That was a great answer. I'm not going to lie.
I got a ton more too. It's every year there's new stories, and that's the great thing about it. Every year there's players that come in or events that are, maybe known, but some that aren't known, and we recognize the talent, and we get them to the right fit. And I think that's important. Like, how about Miles Franklin at Columbia?
Wow. Yes.
Right. 2-time player of the week. He's doing his thing. I'm sure he's on the portal board for a lot of teams, but he's so it's that part's important to us. And, we've seen programs like Nova Southeastern, or, the job Randolph-Macon's done, or any level it is. We love seeing those programs that recruit the right way and players with the right fit succeed.
Well, Kevin, we really appreciate you taking time off to be on the Line podcast. This is not going to be the last time, I can guarantee you that. We'll be at your events during the spring and summer, and during this particular time. Coach Manny has one of the, I think, a really, really good 2031 squad and our other 2030 squad. But we support Big Shots mainly because, and I'll be very candid with you, you guys, the Schneiders, and again, I interfaced with your father early on. It's been the same thing all the way through. It hasn't changed. And that's where if I'm going to advise my parents and players that play on the platform, I look at everything. It's not just on the court and everything, but, I'll go back to last year. We had Solomon Davis playing against the kid who went to Florida State. Yeah. Solomon's at Tech right now, and the world is opening up to him. But one of the things that Coach Young had mentioned to me about, he took a picture with Paul Biancardi at your event. And that photo went a long way. And so we really appreciate what you, your father, your family are doing for grassroots basketball. And I know you're going to continue to grow, and we'll definitely want to be a part of it.
Well, we love you, man, and appreciate your friendship and relationship for many years. We talk about you all the time, and we feel like your program's as good as any program in the country. And And we honestly feel that way. We'll put you up against anybody, and you bring the heat every time, and you usually come out on top. And
absolutely.
You got high character program, coaches across the board. Obviously, Manny, we've talked about your team already throughout the off season with Thomas. So, excited to see you guys again this year on the BSC, and my family will be fired up as well. So.
And that's another episode of The Line. If you got value from this, like it, share it, and hit subscribe. We're building a real community here. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Stay locked in. Stay within the line. Until next time.